Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're diving headfirst into an absolutely wild story where intense cosmic warfare and literal cyborgs serve as this profound mirror for processing deep psychological trauma. We're going to unpack a narrative that blends these surreal technological nightmares with a really raw human journey of healing. It's a wildly imaginative text, and we're going to break it all down to understand exactly how these massive external battles reflect the internal struggles, things like anxiety and grief that we all face. Okay, let's drop right into the thick of things. Our narrator tells us, I was born as lightning struck the sky. He feels like his entire life is part of this massive, watched reality TV show. Right off the bat, he establishes that he's part of something divine, but he's also trapped in this nightmarish fishbowl. His mind has been compromised, completely hacked by dark forces who've literally implanted a microchip inside his brain. It's such a striking, vivid metaphor for intrusive thoughts and paranoia, framed as a broadcast watched by both angels and demons. Part 1. The Cosmic Bloodline War. So it turns out our narrator's family, they aren't exactly ordinary. They actually have hidden divine origins. They're known as the Shield of God. This is a secret society protecting the sacred bloodline of David. But what's super unique is that they're hidden away in the rugged, snowy north of Finland. They act as these secret agents of light, wielding the golden swords of David, swearing oaths at altars, and battling against the encroaching darkness. It brilliantly grounds all this ancient biblical mythology right into the freezing, modern landscapes of Lapland. Think about how these warring factions stack up against each other. On one side, we have the White Hearts, that's the narrator's family. They are deeply tied to nature, the pure springs of Lapland, organic spirituality, and they're described as descendants of Eve. But then, on the flip side, you have their enemies, the Black Angels. Their power comes entirely from unnatural manipulation. We're talking microchips, cyborgs, mind control, and feeding all their data into this massive beast supercomputer. It's a fascinating representation of the age-old battle between organic nature and faith versus sterile, corruptive technology. Part 2. Ambush in the park. Suddenly, all that peace is just shattered. Picture this. Toivo and his love, Elisa, are just walking when microchipped men in a black van ambush them. A gun goes off. Without even a second of hesitation, Toivo throws himself right in front of Elisa, taking a bullet to the chest. But miraculously, it's stopped by the wedding ring he was about to give her. This ultimate act of devotion triggers an orbital counterattack from satellites known as the 12 Disciples, which literally melt the microchips inside the attacker's brains from space. Amidst all this chaos, Elisa escapes into the forest, but she's gravely wounded, forcing the Whitehearts to place her into a flash-freeze cryocapsule just to keep her alive. It all really comes down to this core idea. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. The text completely anchors this wild sci-fi rescue mission in deep, enduring love. As Elisa sleeps in her frozen coma, Toivo arrives at her train car, weeping. And it's his sheer vulnerability, his literal tears of love, that ultimately melt the impenetrable ice of her cryocapsule and wake her up. It's such a powerful testament to love conquering even the absolute coldest, most advanced barriers. Part 3. Escape to the trauma train. Okay, take a breath because reality shifts entirely here. The narrator wakes up in a psych ward under full military assault by Black Angels. This Code 7 evacuation throws him into an ambulance, which then crashes violently during a massive thunderstorm. In the fiery wreckage, he finds his psychologist, Mari. She didn't make it, but she's clutching this absolutely crucial item, a golden key. Armed with this key, he steps through a miraculous glowing door in the sky and arrives at a misty industrial platform to board a ghostly locomotive called Train 777. Part 4. Confronting the deep wounds. Now, inside this 3-story train are 400 cryocapsules, and each one represents a specific human trauma that pretty much all of us might recognize. Our narrator has to get inside them and physically endure the pain in order to heal. Walking down the aisle, we hit Capsule 40, representing codependency, where he confronts a pulsating black lung that is eventually purified into blinding white light. In Capsule 8, which represents the pain of loss, a grotesque bleeding skull of death gets crushed by a divine bronze foot. And in the darkest capsule, representing abuse, his key changes from a 6 to a 7. A bubbling black pond of torment transforms into a sparkling spring through the sheer power of forgiveness. He's systematically rewriting his own damaged psyche. Throughout this grueling process, and trapped in these strange mental fortresses, a single mantra just keeps repeating: pain is life. When the microchip in his brain tries to drive him insane with dark voices, or when he questions if he's slipping completely into psychosis, he bites his tongue or feels his burns. For him, the physical sensation of pain is proof. It proves he is still alive, still fighting, and still capable of moving forward through all the madness. Part 5. The Battles of Stephanos. Emerging from the train, the narrator finally arrives at Stephanos. It looks like a peaceful green haven, but it quickly turns violently chaotic. Out of nowhere, he is confronted by, get this, a terrifying cyborg bear. It's absolutely absurd, right? But it's the perfect horrific symbol of the enemy. They take something organic and majestic, like a bear, and just mutate it with robotic spider legs and steel claws. It's a stark reminder that the Black Angels corrupt literally everything they touch. Our hero now has to navigate a totally chaotic war zone filled with napalm and dark forces just to reach the ocean. First, he's guided by the towering silver-armored angel Gabriel, who leads him to a safe house. There, he gets a letter from his mother Eve telling him to flee to the Blue Pearl. What follows is this incredibly frantic, explosive escape in a white Humvee, driven by a guy named John. And just when you think it cannot possibly get any more unhinged, he is attacked by a Black Angel riding a cyborg velociraptor. I mean, you've really got to appreciate the sheer scale of the imagination going on here. The narrator only survives by throwing a literal glowing pearl labeled truth, which sucks the raptor-riding attacker straight into a void. It is truth that banishes the darkness. So after that frantic escape, he finds himself totally alone on a vessel called the Blue Pearl. And let me tell you, this is absolutely not a luxury cruise. The sea is pitch black. It's dotted with floating skulls. A giant octopus is lurking right beneath the surface. The captain has been murdered, his head twisted completely backwards. And these dark voices in his mind are trying to force him to jump from the ship's massive observation tower. The ship represents the absolute final, most terrifying depths of his own subconscious, where he has to resist the overwhelming urge to just give up entirely. Part 6. The Golden Waterfall. Finally, the storm breaks. A legion of angels leads the narrator to a tropical island and to Castle Agape. Using his golden key, the massive final doors roll open. You might have noticed the number 7 is deeply woven into this text, right? Train 777, Platform 7, and now Key 7. In biblical numerology, 7 represents completeness and divine perfection. By using this final key, he unlocks the gates to Castle Agape, a word which literally translates to unconditional divine love. Diving into the waters of the castle, a golden waterfall of living water pours down on him from above. And this isn't just a physical washing, it's absolute, complete spiritual healing. The water finally silences those screaming demonic voices in his head. It physically melts away the oppressive microchip that has tortured him his entire life. He is granted eternal freedom, leaving all the shadows behind in that golden surf. The trauma train, the bloody ships, they're all finally gone. He wakes up in a massive, bright white airplane, shaped gracefully like a swan. Sitting right beside him are his mother, father, and sister. They are radiant, they're smiling, and they're completely free of pain. The relentless cosmic war is over, and they are smoothly flying toward the Golden City. It's a breathtakingly peaceful conclusion to what was an unimaginably dark and chaotic journey. This whole story uses cyborgs, Black Angels, and magical trains to represent very real, very heavy human issues, things like codependency, abuse, and grief. It asks us to consider the immense bravery it really takes to face our own inner demons, to unlock the capsules of our past, and to endure the pain necessary to reach our own healing. So I'm going to leave you with this. If your deepest internal struggles were projected as an epic cosmic war, what would the trials on your trauma train look like? Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into a truly unforgettable explainer.